I have over 30 years of real estate investment experience. I started as a penniless foreign student. Now, I'm living a life of financial freedom. I hope you can learn from my past experience and realize your dreams of financial freedom and a happy life. Many people ask me, how did you get your first bucket of gold to start your real estate investment? Today, I'm going to tell you the story, how I got the first down payment for my first real estate investment project. I told you in my past videos that I read the book written by Mr. Lin in 1983. At that time, I already made up my mind. I would not work for anybody else. Once I got my first amount of money, I would do nothing but real estate investments. Mr. Lin's book was printed in my mind. I was waiting to start this long journey in real estate investment. But at that time, I don't have any money. I just want to arm myself with enough knowledge. So once I have the money, then I can take real actions. In summer of 1983, an American couple whom I made friends with before I came to the United States invited me to visit them in Virginia Beach. I really wanted to visit them because even though I came to the United States, I stayed in the Chinese community. I didn't even know how Americans live their lives. I was very curious, so I have a very strong desire to visit them. But how can I go to Virginia Beach? I was so poor. I had no money. The $1,000 I borrowed from my guarantor was spent in the first term of school in Louisiana. The $2,000 working in Mr. Lam's store was used to pay tuition to keep my student status. I didn't have a driver license and I didn't have a car. The only help was Mr. Lam. But at that time, we had the agreement not to be a real couple, but just friends. He was also my employer. I was the employee. I thought if I asked him to take me to Virginia Beach, I might owe him more that I would never possibly be able to pay him back. But I had no choice if I want to visit my friends in Virginia Beach. Mr. Lam was the only choice that can bring me to Virginia Beach. I went to Mr. Lam and asked him, I say, my friends in Virginia Beach invited me to visit them. Can you drive me to Virginia Beach? He said, it is my biggest honor and pleasure. He chose a long weekend and drive me to Virginia Beach. The trip was pretty long. One way driving from New York to Virginia Beach was about 8 hours. Round trip 16 hours, with stops for food and rest, altogether about 20 hours. I thought I had no topic to talk with Mr. Lam. It would be very boring to travel with him. So I decided to bring my book so I can keep myself occupied on the way. While he drove, I read the book and closed my eyes to memorize, thought about it, try to absorb all those concepts into my mind. After a while, he asked me, what kind of book are you reading? I told him I'm reading a book about real estate investment in America. And I believe the best way to get rich in America is invest into real estate. And then he asked me many questions. I answered every question one by one and also explained the concepts in Mr. Lin's book. He was so satisfied with all my answers and explanations. He said, you'll be very successful. You learn and you understand everything. And then he asked me another question. He said, if I have $50,000, would you invest for me? That's what I long for. At least I can practice. Even though I don't get the capital gain, I can practice all those concepts in the book and then enable me to do bigger investments in the future. But I worry. I asked him, I say, what if I fail? What if I lose some of your money? He said he trusted me. He would not believe I would fail. With enough confidence, he promised to let me invest his $50,000. He also told me if the investment gets capital gain, I'll share 20% of the gains to you. I was so happy. That's the only thing I was waiting for to start my real estate investment projects. After the trip, I started to look into those real estate advertisements in the newspapers. Every weekend, my main activities were to see houses. I called up those realtors and let them bring me to see all those listings in that area. It was so fun. It was so interesting seeing houses because realtors gave me door-to-door service. They picked me up from my home and dropped me back after seeing those houses for free of charge. I didn't even realize that without any money, such a poor student can search for houses. Through seeing those houses, I broadened my vision in the real estate market. I got to learn about different communities and different areas and different kind of houses. I believe for the over 1 year of study, I gained more experience and knowledge than people using a few decades to gain. Every time after I saw a house, I needed to report to Mr. Lam because I was investing for him. So I needed to tell him which house I saw and my analysis of that house, and he would listen to me and ask me more questions. During that time, I was still working in his store. I took all-night classes in college, and during the day, I still worked as his employee because I needed to earn money for my living and for my tuition payments. Through working in his store and through this investment project, we had more and more topics to talk. During this process, I realized how deeply he loved me. He can do anything for me. So I gradually realized he was a very devoted and very loving life partner. And so I acknowledged him as my real husband. After more than a year seeing houses, finally in early 1985, I purchased a two-family house for the price of $190,000. With $50,000 down payment, we borrowed a loan of about $140,000 from the bank. In 1986, only 1 year later, I sold that house for the price of $260,000. A net capital gain of over $50,000. After the sale of that house, we already had over $100,000 in hand. That enabled us to buy a bigger and more expensive house. In 1987, using the $100,000, we purchased a 3-unit mixed-use property. Mixed use of commercial and residential, retail store on the first floor and apartments on the second and the third floor. In the year of 2007, I sold that house for the price of $1.3 million. All the mortgage from the bank were paid off by the rental income. From this example, you can see we started with $50,000 and we ended up with $1.3 million in hand. The return is $1.25 million. I didn't even tell you how much rental income we collected over the 22 years from 1985 to 2007. The rental income would be more than $1 million. I just wanted to focus on the capital gain, not the rental income. I will discuss about rental income in other separate videos. Many people say you were so lucky. You came across so many opportunities. My response is the reason a lot of people fail was because they didn't catch the opportunity and they couldn't tell which was a good opportunity. So they just let these good opportunities passing by in front of their eyes. They just missed all those opportunities that came their way. Some people ask me, without the first bucket of gold, would you be able to start your real estate investment? My answer is no. You need the first down payment to start your real estate investment. But once you win the first project, you no longer need any out-of-pocket money. It's going to roll by itself, bigger and bigger, $50,000 to $1.3 million cash in hand, that enable me to invest into bigger and more expensive projects. I will share with you in the other videos about development in this field. From my story, don't you think it's very easy to get rich buying houses in the United States? I think yes. Thank you. If you like my videos, please subscribe and share to more people so more people can benefit from my past experience. Feel free to leave any comments, suggestions, and questions. Thank you very much.